You may see a banner come across the top of your screen. If you don't see it, that's fine. If you do see it, that's also fine. Let's see here. Okay, so we're now recording. I'm going to share my screen. Today's presentation is on multi-day adventures and kind of off the beaten path experiences. So just bear with me for a moment. I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. So multi-day adventures and off the beaten path experiences in Iceland. So again, I know if you've joined me for the last couple of weeks, you know who I am by now, but if this is your first time, thank you for joining. My name is Shauna. I am a Top of the World and Scandinavia specialist here at Great Canadian Travel. This is me, a couple pictures of me taken in Iceland. The one on the left-hand side is taken in the Stikisholmur area on the Snæfellsnes Peninsula, the west part of Iceland. The one on the right is taken in the little village of Vik on the south coast of Iceland on the black sand beaches. So who are we? We're a group of people who love to travel to unique and underexplored areas. We've been around since the early 1980s, and we're one of the first companies to operate polar bear trips to Churchill. We love unique and off the beaten path locales. Africa, Greenland, Scandinavia, Antarctica, Faroe Islands, and of course Iceland are all areas that we specialize in. Our main office is located in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We'd like to acknowledge that Winnipeg is located on Treaty 1 land, the original land of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, Lakota, and Dene peoples, and is the homeland of the Métis Nation. We do this to recognize and express gratitude to the First Nations and the Métis lands that we are on. So COVID-19, again, if you've been with us for the last couple of weeks, you've seen this, but I'm just going to go over it again. So for Iceland, if you're fully vaccinated or can show proof of a past COVID-19 infection, you are able to enter Iceland and expect a quarantine for less than 24 hours. I do want to highlight that as of July 1st, which I believe is next Thursday, I believe, this is actually going to not be the case anymore. So as of July 1st, you will not need to quarantine anymore. So you show up in Iceland, you show your proof of vaccination or your proof of past infection. There's no testing required on arrival anymore, and you will not have to quarantine at all once you arrive and get to your hotel. You do still need to pre-register at visit.covid.is. This is done 72 hours prior to arrival in Iceland. You don't need to provide a negative COVID-19 test to enter Iceland. I just want to throw in one more little tidbit. I've had two clients now travel to Iceland, both from the US, but both were tested on arrival and their test results were provided before 2 p.m. on their day of arrival. So while it does say that they're guaranteed within 24 hours of arrival, in most cases they're coming back far ahead of that. So you do have some time to explore Iceland kind of on that arrival day. Not guaranteed, so always prepare for the 24 hours, but it's a nice surprise if it does happen. So once you do have your results texted to you, you can go out and explore Iceland. So once you're in Iceland, you do need to register at travel.covid.is. This allows you to have access to all the local lab information and to set up the testing for your return home, because Canada and the US both do require negative COVID-19 PCR tests to be presented. So this test must be taken no more than 72 hours prior to departure back to both countries. And the test results are returned within 24 hours of testing. Again, clients I've had there have said it's closer to 12 hours that they're returned, but always count on that 24-hour time period just in case. There are several labs around the country, however, they don't take appointments, and most have extremely limited hours. So using the barcode system at travel.covid.is, this provides you with the best lab to visit based on your itinerary and on your departure date. So if you're not vaccinated, nor can show proof of a past infection, you can still visit. There's just more steps to follow. In addition to the above information, you'll need to provide a negative test prior to arrival in Iceland. Once you have arrived and tested, the testing for these people not vaccinated will still be carried through after July 1st. So once you've arrived and tested, you still must quarantine in a state-approved quarantine facility free of charge. This quarantine will last 5 days. You'll be retested on the 5th day. If you test negative both times, then you're free to explore. So social distancing rules of 1 meter are in effect. Face masks must be worn when the 1 meter rule cannot be kept. Face masks must be worn on public transport, buses, taxis, tour buses, etc. And they also must be worn in shops and other locations. Again, as I've mentioned, this is relaxing a little bit. Some of the larger shops and restaurants don't require masks anymore. However, always keep one on you in case you do need to have it for some reason. Okay, so this is our first experience we're going to talk about. So this is the LAUGAVEGUR and FIMMVÖRÐUHÁLS treks. And forgive me, my pronunciation on that second word is not accurate, but that's the best that I can do. So the LAUGAVEGUR trek is one of the most popular treks in Iceland. A lot of people that are into hiking and trekking, this is something that they aim to do. That is the map on the left-hand side. That's a 5-day trek, 4 to 5 days typically. If you want to do the FIMMVÖRÐUHÁLS trek, that one is 3 days. To combine them, which a lot of people do like to do, it's a full week, a 7-day trek. So here's just a few photos of the scenery from that area. You are kind of in the lower part of the highlands, really remote. You're not going to see a lot of other people. If you do, they're going to be trekking just like you. So this is in the Fjallabak region of the Highlands, which is the southern part. It starts in the yellow and orange rhyolite hills of Landmannalaugar and continues through the rocky terrain to Torsmark. So the classic route, like I said, takes between 4 and 5 days to complete. If you want to do the full way to Skogar, which is the ending portion of the trip, that's going to take you the full 7 days. So while it can be done independently, and we have assisted people in doing this in the past, we do recommend for people to travel with a guided group to just get to the most of the experience, and you won't miss some of the features that you would maybe miss if you're on your own. So because it is a trek, there are some things that you require to bring. So waterproof jacket, sturdy hiking boots. They should be waterproof and Gore-Tex because you are going to be walking through rivers. Layers are your friend. This is for all cases in Iceland, but specifically trekking. Thermal underwear, fleece or wool sweaters, no cotton, hiking socks, weatherproof pants, swimsuit and towel, hat and gloves, a day pack, especially if your trip is going to have one that has luggage assistance, which I'll address in a minute. Your sleeping bag, or you can rent a sleeping bag as well, a water container, water bottle, and always we do send a more detailed packing list. This is just to give you an idea of what's needed. So on most of the guided trips, luggage transport can be arranged. This just means that you just have to have your day pack with you from point to point. The rest of your gear meets you at the next hut or the next camping site. So this is a great way. You don't have to lug all your gear for a week with you. The luggage transport can be arranged. So since the terrain in this area is considered challenging, the minimum age for the guided groups is 14. If you're doing an independent trek, I mean, that's totally up to your comfort level with your kids. I've seen cases people as young as 6 and 7 have been doing this, but it can be quite challenging. So it's really up to how you feel your child can cope with the conditions. So the best time for this is June through September. So once the highlands are open, the highlands aren't accessible during the wintertime due to snowfall and road closures. July and August will be by far the busiest time. September is good to avoid crowds, but it will be shorter days and colder nights as well. So there are several natural hot springs along the route. That's why you want to bring your bathing suit and towel. And LAUGAVEGUR actually means hot spring route or hot water route. So there's actually quite a few geothermal hot springs along the way, which is a nice way to relax after some hiking. There's just a few photos. On the left-hand side, it just shows an image of the luggage assist. So it's a four-wheel drive vehicle. Your luggage is all loaded in at the beginning of each day. The truck will then meet you at your next site. So in the middle, we have a typical kind of mountain hut. And on the right-hand side, we see the typical tenting sites. So again, it depends on your comfort level. Mountain huts are all shared accommodation, they're bunk accommodation. Some of them have showers, some of them don't. If they do have showers, the showers are paid showers. So you do have to, it's like a coin system. It's sometimes like some campgrounds here in North America. Not all will have it, and unfortunately not all will be hot water. I know it's interesting for a country that has hot water everywhere. A few places, very limited places will have cold water, most will have hot, but just to be aware of. The next thing I'm going to talk about is multi-day dive trips. So this is something that's a little bit unique and very, very specific to each person. So you do have to be PADI open water certified and show the certification card before you can participate. You must also show proof of dry suit experience. So that just means your dry suit certification or a minimum of 10 logged dry suit dives within the last year signed off by an instructor. This is a bit, just because of the year we've had, I do know that for certain diving trips, they are extending that to 2 years to show your 10 log dry suit dives, just because people are assuming that you haven't done 10 dives in the last year. So if this is something that interests you, we can absolutely go into more details with you and see what we can do for any exemptions or extensions of that time frame. The first of 2 dive trips I'm going to talk about. This one's a 3-day Reykjavik dive tour. This is a great one actually to experience Reykjavik and do some diving. This one doesn't include accommodation, so we would book your accommodation separately. You're based in Reykjavik for the entire time, but then you go up and do dive trips from the city. So you get to participate in the ultimate intro to Arctic diving, which is a plunge into the Atlantic Ocean. You dive in Silfra Fissure, which is between the tectonic plates, and explore the craters of Clifarton Geothermal Lake. So between these dives, you also get to do a bit of sightseeing. So they're in the Reykjanes Peninsula and a little bit along the Golden Circle as well. So this is available April through September, and it includes your dive guide for 3 days plus 4 dives in 3 locations. Pickup and transportation to and from dive sites is also included, all your cylinders, your weights, etc. This does require a medical waiver, and if you're over the age of 60, your doctor does have to sign off on this prior to being allowed to participate. One thing to also consider is that these particular tours, they are also designed for non-divers. So in the event one person's traveling is a diver, one's not, there are also a few snorkel options. And because they're sightseeing elements, the non-divers can also get some sightseeing touring in, while their diver companion can get some dives in. The next one is the 5-day highlights of Iceland. So this is actually a really great itinerary. It's 4 nights, 5 days. But you see a large part of Iceland actually. So this includes land-based sightseeing as well, including some must-sees, and this one is also non-diver friendly. So again, your non-diving partners can come along. There are a few snorkeling options as well. So between dives, explore the scenery of the Reykjanes Peninsula, the Golden Circle, and North Iceland. So you see quite a lot of land. Again, available April through September. This one has 6 dives in 5 locations, along with 1 snorkel tour for everybody. 4 nights accommodation is included with this tour along the way. So 4-star accommodations, private facilities, and breakfast included daily. All your transportation while on tour, including land and any water transportation. The cylinders and weights are also included. So you get entrance to Silfra and Mývatn nature baths as well, and touring of the Golden Circle and the Diamond Circle as well. The Diamond Circle is located in the north of Iceland. So again, you must have read, signed off on, and followed the directions of the diving medical statement and signed off by a medical doctor if you are over 60. So the next one I'm going to talk about here is the 3-day Midnight Sun and Arctic Foxes tour. Fox tour, I'm not sure why I put foxes, sorry, in the West Fjords. So a couple weeks ago, we talked a bit about wildlife and the Arctic fox being the only indigenous animal to Iceland. The West Fjords is the best place to see them, and this tour is concentrated kind of solely on seeing the foxes. So the bright Icelandic summer nights are the best time to see these guys. During the day, they do kind of stay in their dens. They come out in the evening. The pups play outside the dens, and the parents are hunting nearby on the coast or in the mountains, which is wherever their den happens to be. So Kviar Lodge, is a remote farmhouse in the Hornstrandir Nature Preserve. This is the only house for miles around, and it's only reachable by boat, so you're a very remote area. This area was abandoned in the late 1940s, so these foxes have been able to kind of roam free, live on their own, not really have much human interaction, so this makes them very tame and playful. So summertime is breeding time for them as well, so guidelines are provided by the wildlife specialists, and these are closely followed. Boat transfers and meals are included, so your boat transfer would be from ICELAND, which is in the West Fjords, and for us to get you up there, we would fly you up there, for example, from Reykjavik. It's about a 45 to 50-minute flight. And it includes hiking and kayaking as well. These are all included activities, and for the kayaking, all of your necessary equipment would be included. So this just kind of shows the Kviar farmhouse. So the one picture obviously is a view from inside out into the fjord, and just a couple of kind of landscape views. You really are kind of on your own. There's nothing around for miles, so it's a really kind of great way to get a unique experience in Iceland. So now we have a 3-day sea kayaking trip. So this is also in the same area in Ísafjörður, so in the West Fjords of Iceland. So this is a great way to search for marine mammals and birds. So this features a unique kind of picnic barbecue dinner on a remote beach. So you're sleeping, this is camping as well, so you are tenting, sleeping on a peninsula surrounded by wildlife, sunsets, flora, and rich history. So you're getting the opportunity to paddle with puffins, eider ducks, guillemots, oyster catchers, eagles, falcons, whales, dolphins, and seals. And in this particular picture, you see some jellyfish as well, actually. So this is fully guided and is suitable for beginners. It is considered a moderate paddle because you are not on a lake, you are on the sea technically. So while this area is in the fjord, it is calm. It is considered a moderate trip, but is good for beginners. So all food, tents, kayaking gear are included, including your life vest, your boots, your dry bags, etc. So for the total distance, day 1, you're kayaking at 9 kilometers. This tour starts about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so you only have a short day on the arrival day. Day 2 is 18 kilometers, and day 3 is also approximately 18 kilometers. So you do want to be in fairly reasonable shape for this, but it's a great way to, again, get a really unique experience in the West Fjords. So just a few photos again. We've got some whales here in the top left and the bottom right, some seal viewing here in the top right, and the bottom left just kind of shows the remote beaches you'll be visiting, what your kayaking gear is going to look like, and hopefully what your weather is going to look like as well. That I can't guarantee. I wish that I could, but that would be perfect ideal weather. So this one, I know the title of the tour sounds kind of doom and gloom, but it's a really cool tour. So it's called the 4-day Days of Darkness tour. So the reason it's called that is because it is only in the fall. So it takes place in November. So that's why it's the Days of Darkness. So November, you're going to have kind of maybe 4, 5, 6 hours of daylight, and the rest is darkness. So great for Northern Lights viewing. This particular tour starts from Eaglestader, which is on the east coast, and ends in Actuary on the north coast. So again, we would arrange your flights accordingly with those smaller communities. So this kind of gives you like an authentic experience with history and nature. So you get to visit hot springs, interactive exhibitions, you sleep in a museum, which is really neat, and taste some local delicacies. So you hike the unique Hengifoss, which is here on the right-hand side, the Hanging Falls. You search for the famous LAUGAVEGUR, which is the sea worm or sea monster, which there's been a few international programs. I think one of them is Destination Truth has done an investigation at LAUGAVEGUR to find the sea worm. I'm not sure, to each their own, their interpretation of whether it exists or not. I've been to Lake, I did not see it. I did look. Visit a traditional turf and stone sheep farm, along with a traditional turf smokehouse, and enjoy some smoked lamb. And you can also cross on a unique 50-meter wide river in a cable ferry. So that's a picture on the next slide. On the right-hand side, you see the cable ferry that goes above the canyon. So you have an opportunity to try this ferry system to get across the river if you'd like to. You don't have to, but you can try if you'd like. Top left is a really unique hot spring situation. So you actually access it from kind of under the snow. It's a bit of a rock bridge, I guess you could call it, and you're accessing from under the snow. So it looks like you're just there completely untouched and just dropped there from nowhere. So that's a really cool hot springs experience. Middle on the top is a reindeer. So again, we talked a few weeks about reindeer on the east coast. This is their prime area of living in Iceland. They were brought over from Norway to be domesticated. That didn't work out so well. So they roam pretty freely on the east coast. And the bottom photo just gives you kind of an idea of what the kitchen looks like. We've got some local food prep, very local meals, great local food to enjoy. And now we've got the 7-day golden highlights of the South horseback riding. So this again is not for everybody. Horseback riding is very popular in Iceland. A lot of people like to do a 1 or 2 hour trip just to kind of get a feel. If you're really into horseback riding, I've booked this particular tour for a couple of clients. Again, it's very particular clients would want this. This particular one is only available in the summer months, so June through August. This year, it's only available in August just due to COVID, but for 2022, I expect it will be back for June, July, and August. It is 7 nights, so it's 7 days on horseback. The approximate distance for riding is 215 kilometers, so your days could be between 20 and 45 kilometers. There's riding, there's also hiking and scenery stops along the way. So it is shared accommodations in farmhouses and simple mountain huts. The huts would be similar to what we saw on the LAUGAVEGUR trek slide, with just a simple accommodation, sleeping bag accommodation. Full board is included, so traditional home cooking. The tour has free running horses, so this allows you to experience the diversity of the Icelandic horse in the natural environment. So every rider gets to try 2 or 3 horses per day. Because the horses all vary a little bit, this helps to develop your riding skills. So this visits the Golden Circle and the remote highlands as well. And you get to follow narrow paths between moss-covered lava and green hills. So you visit Gullfoss, Langjökull, and you cross the highland desert, which is between the rivers Hvita and Þjórsá, and ride through the black lava fields and the soft forest trail. So it gives you a really diverse scenery, experience. So you get the forest, you get the desert, you get the lava, you get the glaciers. So if you're into horseback riding, this is a really kind of complete experience. You'll see on the map there's some waves. Those indicate hot springs. You see a couple people hiking, so you might do a bit of a day hike there. So it's really varied. It does start and end in the Selfoss area, and transportation is included. And then we would book pre and post nights in Reykjavik and do whatever additional trip arrangements you'd like as well. So this is just a few photos here. So we've got horses crossing the river, horses crossing the pastures. So it just kind of gives you an idea of what your experience will be like. I don't want you to think it's just going to be following one after the other in a line. You need to be a relatively experienced rider for this particular trip. That just means you've ridden a horse more than a few times. So the horses are able to kind of move along the line as they feel fit, and as you feel as a rider, if you're comfortable with that or not. So again, this is a really short one. I'm coming to the end here. This is my Icelandic language lesson for the day. Again, a few just little pictures I wanted to include on the left-hand side. It just shows the word dolphin in a couple of different languages: Swedish, Slovakian, Afrikaans, Welsh, Finnish. Finnish is usually the one that's kind of different from everything, but then you see Icelandic, and it's HORSEBACK. Again, forgive my pronunciation, but it just shows how Icelandic is such a unique experience and a unique language. So time to learn Icelandic. So just a few greetings. So góða daginn is good day. Tak is thanks. So yao is yes. So the J is pronounced like a ya, and then the A with the apostrophe is like an ow. So yao. Nai is no. Kanski, maybe. Afsakith is excuse me. Ég heiti is my name, or so I would be Ég heiti Shauna. I am Shauna. Ég is I am. I'm Bjorn Tak is one beer, thank you. That's an important one. Enska is English. Augenblick is one moment. And then this is a good one to remember is Ég tala ekki íslensku. I don't speak Icelandic. This about 10 years ago, when kind of tourism started really ramping up in Iceland, this was a campaign that was done by Visit Iceland. Ég tala ekki íslensku. So you could get t-shirts, coffee mugs, fridge magnets, everything had that phrase written in a specific font. So like my husband, for example, he had the shirt and he still wears it. North of here in Winnipeg, we have a festival called the Icelandic Festival in Gimli, Manitoba, and he wears it every year to that festival because a lot of people in Gimli are Icelandic. So they will actually come up to him and try and speak Icelandic just to be funny. And then cool facts on Iceland. So mosquitoes don't exist in Iceland. They do have midges, which are little black flies. They're just like black flies here in Canada. They are found primarily in the north near Lake Mývatn. Mývatn literally translates to Lake of the Midges, so it can be buggy in the summertime. So the highest number of book and magazine publications is in Iceland. Icelanders love their books. They have a Christmas tradition called the Jólavökuflood, which is the Christmas book flood. And the tradition is everyone gets a new book on Christmas for a present. So there are no McDonald's restaurants in Iceland. There was one there, it closed in 2009. The building still exists, and the McDonald's buildings, the newer ones don't, but older McDonald's buildings had quite a distinctive shape to their roof. The building still exists, it's a hamburger restaurant, and you can tell it used to be McDonald's, but it's not a McDonald's now. The consumption of Coca-Cola per capita is the highest in the world, so they love their Coke products. Iceland had the world's first female president, Vigdis FIMMVÖRÐUHÁLS, elected in 1980. And I could be wrong on this. I believe she was in office for 6 years, which is great. And then one of the most feminist friendly countries in the world. So they're really forward thinking. They're really close to equal pay for gender. And in terms of wealth, there's only about between 3 and 5% live below the lower middle class kind of standard that we're used to here. So it's a very kind of, not necessarily a wealthy country, but a very equal country. And again, this was a really short one, so I'm just looking at my clock here, but this is my information. So tack fyrir og bless. Thank you and goodbye. My information's here. I'll give you just a second if you want to take it down. I have heard from a few people from these webinars with some specific requests, so I appreciate checking in. I've also just received a few emails saying hello, so I appreciate that as well. This was our first time doing this type of event and type of series, and we are discussing continuing and doing other options. So if you've got anything you'd like to learn about, send it our way. It may not necessarily be myself doing it, depending on what the requests come in are, but we'd love to get some feedback from you if there's anything else you'd like to hear about. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Let's see here. Okay, so I've stopped sharing. I do have, there is a speech bubble comment area. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take any questions you might have. I do see we've got quite a few people on today, so thank you so much for joining. If you do have any questions, type away, and I'll do my best to answer. If I can't answer, I will definitely look into it and I will get back to you on it. But yeah, I'm just gonna open the conversation box. I don't see any questions coming in, but let me know if you've got anything and I will see what I can do. So I don't see anything coming in. I don't see anybody typing. That's no problem, no worries at all. If you do, oh, hang on. Are you planning to give a presentation on the Scandinavian countries? Thanks, Monique. Good question. It is something I'm definitely thinking about because it is another area of Europe that I do specialize in. So that is one of the considerations we're considering is either Scandinavia as a whole, although there's a lot for each country, so we may separate it out by country. We're also thinking of doing Greenland, the Faroe Islands, and expedition cruising, as well as a colleague of mine. I would like to talk to her and see if she'd like to do a kind of Arctic Canada to see her thoughts. So we've got a lot of things we're discussing, but yes, Scandinavia is something that's definitely being thought of. Crystal, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining. So I'll just give it maybe another 30 seconds or so. I'm gonna grab a drink of water and see if any more questions come in, and then I might just call it at the end. Thanks, Monique. Thanks for joining us. And Monique, I think we'll speak next week. Okay, so I don't see anything else coming in, so I'm going to end the meeting now. Again, same as we have done in the past. This recording will go out. I apologize, the last couple of weeks has been a bit later than I expected, but I will be sending this out probably by end of day Friday on the YouTube link I sent in the past. And then once we've got a new schedule set up for the new ideas, the new webinars, we will send that out to you, and we hope you can join us. Thank you so much, and have a great day, everyone. Keep safe and keep dreaming about travel.